Bilbo opened his eyes, he wondered if he had.
What?
For it was just as dark as with them shut.
Oh, yes, and just imagine my fright. I could hear nothing, I could see nothing, and I could feel nothing except for the stone of the floor. Very slowly, I got up and groped about on all fours till I touched the wall of the tunnel. My head was swimming. There was no sign of Gandalf or the dwarves, and I was far from certain even which way we'd been travelling. Still, I guessed as well as I could, and I crawled along for a good way, until suddenly my hand met on the floor of the tunnel what felt like a little tiny ring of cold metal.
It was a turning point in the hobbit's career. Not that he knew it at the time. He put the ring in his pocket almost without thinking. Certainly it did not seem of any particular use at that moment. He did not go much further, but sat on the cold floor and pondered.
I thought of myself at home, frying eggs and bacon in the kitchen. But that only made me miserabler, for I could feel inside that it was high time for some meal or other. How could I have been left behind? How did the goblins miss me? I must have been lying unconscious out of their way. What if the goblins came back?
But then Bilbo remembered the sword he had taken from the troll's lair.
It glows. So this is an elvish blade, too. Its light's only pale, so the goblins are not very near. Yes, and yet not far enough away. Still, gives me a little light to see by. Now, what shall I do? Go back? No, that's no good at all. Go sideways? Oh, no, impossible. Go forwards, the only thing to do. On we go.
So, with his sword held in front of him and with one hand feeling the wall, he groped along, fearful but determined as only a hobbit can be when his mind is made up. The tunnel seemed to have no end. On he went, and down, not daring to stop. On, until he was tireder than tired. It seemed like all the way to tomorrow and over it to the days beyond. Suddenly...
Water! And icy cold! This must be a pool or a lake. Or is it an underground river? Well, now what do I do? It may not be very deep, and I might be able to wade over to the other side. Wherever that is. But if it is deep, I can't swim. Oh, dear.
Bless us and splash us, my precious. At least a tasty morsel it'd make us go.
Who are you?
What is he, my precious?
Me? I am Mr. Bilbo Baggins, Baggins. I've lost the dwarves, and I've lost the wizard, and I don't know where I am, and I don't want to know. If only I can get out of here.
Perhaps he sits here and chats with it a bitsy, my precious. It likes riddles, perhaps it does it?
This strange creature wanted to appear friendly, at any rate for the moment, until he found out more about the hobbit. His name was Gollum, although he always called himself Precious. He was small and slimy and as dark as darkness, except for two big, round, pale eyes in his thin face. He lived on fish, and goblin too when he could get it. He could see that Bilbo was no goblin, but Gollum was always very hungry. When he said he wanted to play riddles, Bilbo was anxious to agree until he found out whether this odd creature was fierce or friendly, or whether he was in league with the goblins.